Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Fashion Flair Friday. And today you can see I'm wearing my very favorite color. And February is the time when I think about red. Well, December is too. But February is the month of what? Of love, of passion, Valentine's Day, and also the heart, was it called? Let me see here. Go for Red. Go for Red. The Heart Foundation's Go Red for Women campaign. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and talk about the color red. So if you are here, I don't see anybody on yet, but as you join me, oh, there's a couple of people popped on. So go ahead and say hi so I know you're here and who's here. And so red is one of those colors that I have always loved. And as I said in my little promo, I have a lot of clients that will say to me, I cannot wear red, Marian. And I say, oh, yes, you can. Now, you may not be able to wear the reds that I can wear, but there is some version of red that you can wear. So, red is kind of one of those vibrant, powerful colors that it really evokes a strong emotion, creates an impact. I use it even on my, let's see if I go over here, my business card, you can see here I use red. It's in my logo, and I have loved red since the time, I don't know when, a long time. In fact, I've probably told some of you this story that when I have two daughters, and for their nurseries, of course, it should be pink or some pretty little color, right? No, my daughter's nurseries were red and white. So that's how much I love the color. Anyway, there are many different shades of red. There are many different qualities of red. There are many different pigments of red, and I'm going to show you those today. But I thought I would read a few things from the book Color Nation, The Power of Color in Business and Leadership. And it was by my friend Linda Thomas, who has since passed away. But I love her book. And here is her section on red. And I didn't know a few of these things, but she says, in decades and centuries past, certain occupations were identified by wearing red, such as cardinals who elect the Pope, that I did know, judges in European courts, college professors' ceremonial robes, a king's robe, Louis XIV's red shoes, and before the mid 1800s, red was really an expensive color to produce. And so you had to be an aristocrat to be able to afford garments that were dyed that color. Now, I don't think any of us need to worry about that at this stage of life, right? But I think there are some fun things here. First of all, red is one of the very first colors that we recognize as children. Our teachers corrected our homework with red ink so that we could learn from our mistakes. And we read the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood as children. The ruby red slippers that Dorothy wore in The Wizard of Oz have been seared into our memories, along with the red suit that Santa Claus wears at Christmas time. And then, of course, we have the red cape of Superman and Spider-Man's red costume and the intensity of the Flash. Each of these flashbacks are connected with the primitive strength of the red from our childhood recollections for all generations. So it was really fun to read that and to be reminded of that. So I can tell you that red can overexcite people. And so if you are involved in something where you don't want a lot of excitement, Like if you happen to work in HR and you're going to be letting somebody go, you don't want to show up in a red suit. That's going to really overstimulate, and overexcite the conversation. So red is a very highly influential. So, use it in the right places. So should you wear it? Yes, there's a time and place to wear it. Can you wear it? Yes, there's a type of red that you can wear. And so you just have to know what that is for you. I thought these were kind of fun. The negative connotations of the word red, like code red, or not worth a red cent, or caught red-handed, or seen red, or entangled in red tape. Okay, and then there's some other phrases that are more positive, like a red letter day, or a red carpet treatment, or paint the town red. So kind of fun to really think about different colors and some of their backgrounds, and how the name is used in our sayings and our slogans and so forth. I love this from Christian Louboutin, the shoe designer, whose shoes, the soles are always red, and that's how you really identify. So he says, the shiny red color of the soles have no function other than to identify to the public that they are mine. I selected the color because it is engaging, flirtatious, memorable, and the color of passion. Now, True Red was the Pantone Color of the Year back in 2002, and that was chosen in recognition of the impact of September 11th, 2001. And this red, which was kind of the red that I'm wearing right at the moment, is meaningful and a patriotic hue. Red is known as a color of power and or passion, and that is associated with love. And there are many successful international businesses also that use the color red. The American Heart Association, as I said earlier, Coca-Cola and Avis and Girls Inc., Kellogg's, Levi's, Red Bull, the Red Roof Inn, the Red Cross, Red Lobster, the Swiss Army knife, Target, and so forth. So that's just a little bit of background on the color red. Now, what I wanted to just say to you is look at all of these colors that are considered out of the red family, okay? Or when I'm doing color analysis and color palettes for people, look at all the possibilities that I have, and more than this too, but this is one of the tools that I use. But look at all the different possibilities here that we refer to as red. And why do we refer to them as reds? Well, because they started out as a red pigment. So if you're an artist, when you go to your art supply store and you buy your tube of paint, you're buying a particular pigment. And here are pigments that would be considered on the cool side, meaning they've got a lot of blue in them. But you see the name of the pigment at the top. And then here are more red pigments. Again, names at the top. You can see, however, that there are blue reds and there are warm reds that have some yellow in them. So, and as you look down each row, or each column, I guess I should say, you can see how we go from a very intense red pigment, a true pigment, right out of the tube, and then just like an artist will do, they start to change the quality of the paint to evoke a different mood or a different situation. And you can see this particular color, which I think is Geranium Lake. As we go right on down, all of those colors were made from this pure pigment. So that's why I say everybody has a red that they can wear, whether it's this intense or whether it's this pastel or whether it is somewhere in between. So one of the things that you need to know is that you need to know, well, what is my personal coloring? And do I have warm undertones to my skin? Do I have cool undertones to my skin? Are my eyes blue based or are they brown based or green based? Cool, warm. Do I have hair that is warm? Is it a yellow gold? Is it a red? Is it a rusty brown? Or is it on the cool side, which would be, the grays, the jet black, dark hair, or even a rose tone brown, which is kind of an ashy brown. So you have to really know, again, what your personal coloring is. At least this is what a color analyst like myself does. We look at personal coloring and then we decide, okay, what pigment family should you be in and what should be the intensity level or what should be the quality of the color that is going to look best on me or on you. So let me just quickly go over here to comments. I see Betty and Dante Drummond. Good to see you. Patty, always love having you here. Hi, Casey. And Patty, love that I can now wear sangria and Persian, or sangria Persian and carmine reds. Yes, and those are the bluer reds. So right now what I have on is what I would call a pretty neutral red. It's not real warm. It could be warmer, and it's not cool at all. It doesn't have a lot of blue in it. And for many, many years, I could only wear this color or warmer because my hair was brown and I had a lot of gold streaks in it. I have warm skin, I have warm eyes, and so I would skew more towards the neutral to warm reds. But now that my hair has been going, gray, it really is affecting what I can do in terms of my reds. So here is one example of taking a red, you see, and cooling it down, adding some blue to it, and you can see how it still works with my skin because it's not real blue, and it definitely works with my eyes and with my hair. So a color analyst is always looking at how far can you push to warmth or how far can you push to coolness, as well as intensity. So I have a fairly intense coloration, dark hair, dark eyes, pretty lively skin. And so the intensity of color that I can wear is going to be much stronger than somebody that has, very light hair and maybe has a quieter personality. So personality also comes into the mix of how you choose your colors, whether it be red or whether it be another color. Let's see what I wanted to show you here. So here would be another example of going bluer. And in doing this, I'd probably just change that lipstick a little bit and cool it down. But you can see this is working with my hair, with my eyes, and with my skin. Now this is a color that I used to wear. Do you see how warm that is? How much yellow it has in it compared to what I'm wearing right now? So what happens? You can see how it changes, at least on my screen. It really changes my skin tone and makes my skin tone look a lot more yellow. It definitely can go over here with my hair, but it's not working in combination with the hair and the skin together. this is another color that would come out of the red family as well. And you can see it also too has gotten a little too warm with my graying hair. So that's why it's very important as your color changes, as we age, our colors change. Our skin softens, our eyes even get a little bit lighter. And if we're not coloring our hair, the gray that comes through in our hair is also going to cool everything down and soften everything down and lighten everything down. So that is why, you really do need to adjust your colors as time goes on. So do I have any questions here? How many of you wear warm colors? So again, if I hold up the warms, if you just look on down my columns here, do any of you see from this particular page colors that you gravitate to? Or if I came to your closet, would I find you more on the cooler side? And if so, where, as we look down the column, would we find your intensity level? Would we find it strong? Would we find it more pastel? And also, how does your personality fit into colors? So are you more comfortable wearing bright and bold colors? Or do you like very soft, muted, quieter colors that have you maybe not stand out quite so much? So think about your personality. Think about the color temperature that you are carrying around with you every single day, and make sure when you're looking at your reds that are in your closet, hold them up under your chin and really look at, as I showed you today, look at what happens to your skin tone as you change out the color. Is it still flattering? Does it still work for you? And if so, great. If it doesn't, if you can see that things are, like your skin now is looking a little yellow, or your skin is looking a little dull or a little sallow, that just means that you don't have the right version of that particular pigment in your wardrobe. So, any questions from any of you as we look at color, as we look at this color red? So we've said that there are many different shades of red, from bright fire engine red to deep burgundy. Fire engine red being on the warm side, deep burgundy being on the cool side. And each shade has a unique impact. And it can evoke, each of these colors can evoke different emotions. So it's really important to understand not only all the personal things, but also the psychology of the color when you wear it, because it can evoke different responses from people. And it can affect your mood, and it can affect the mood of other people as well. So think about how you might incorporate this powerful color into your wardrobe. And it could be in the form of a lipstick. It could be something in your home decor, like my daughter's, nurseries way back when. These are colors that can add, as I said, a little passion, a little energy, a little warmth to your life this month. So let me see here. Dante, you said I have a redhead complexion, okay, with freckles. So oftentimes what happens with freckles, freckles are typically, show up on the skin a little brown. And so what would probably happen with you is that the red would have to incorporate some brown in it to actually work back to your skin tone. So it's been a while since I've actually seen where you are in your color, but just know, ladies, that if a color analysis is something like you feel you need, that you've never had one done, I think it's a very wise and a very important tool for every woman to have, to carry in her handbag, to be able to shop with it, to be able to shop online with it, to really make sure that the palette that you have in your closet is cohesive, that will allow you to do some mixing and matching, and will give you clarity around what works for you and what doesn't. And I also was telling a woman I was talking to earlier this morning that I am a real believer. I am not a slave to my color palette. And by that I mean if there's a new color that comes in for this particular season, let's say, so we know that the magentas are very, very big right now, called Pantone Color of the Year, Viva Magenta. If I wanted to really toy with that and play with that, I know how to use my palette to determine, is that a color that I could bring into my wardrobe, maybe in a small way, but will it work? Is there a way that I can bring it in and have things still harmonize within my closet? Or is it just a silly, silly purchase that now if I bring it in, I'm going to have to buy, 5 different pieces to actually go with it? So there's a way of using your color palette to determine whether new colors that come into the market really can be something for you to consider to purchase. So that's what I mean by I don't want you to be a slave to your palette. In other words, I don't want you to say for the next 10 years, the only things that I can buy are the colors that Marion put on my palette. That's not true. So that is it today. Let's see. Patty, updated color palette is a huge help. Good. I'm glad it was for you, and I'm so glad that you learned why things weren't working and how to keep you on track as you go forward. So that, I think, is it today. What I want to tell you about next week is that I am going to have a recorded interview with Judy Lucas, who is the master hairstylist that I've been telling you about from Chicago. And we are going to do the recording earlier in the week because of her schedule and because I'm actually having to travel to, not having, I get to travel to Denver, Colorado on a client project next week. So I will not be here live for Fashion Flair Friday, but you will have the recording on Fashion Flair Friday so you can actually watch it and learn about Judy and how she works virtually and how she has helped me. And we're going to talk about how to determine the right shape for your hairstyle, how to determine the right length, how to even determine the right colors. So, and you're going to have some fun seeing Judy's hair color. So anyway, that is it for next week. Just so you know, the recording will be up for Fashion Flair Friday on Friday, and you'll get to watch it whenever you want. I would encourage you to ask questions or make comments, because Judy will be watching the thread for a day or so, and she will respond to any of you that have a question for her. So I hope you enjoy the interview, and I feel very honored. I feel like it's a treat to have her come and take time out of her busy schedule to help all of us and give all of us some guidance. So that is it for this week, ladies, and I will be back live in 2 weeks, but I'll see you in the group next week as well. Okay, take care. Bye now.